Even bananas are great.
Okay.
I mean, I've never tried it with durian, but that'd probably be really good.
So today we are in the home of my friend Nicole Rucker. Nicole, thank you for having me over today.
Anytime.
Nicole is a master baker, and she's going to be baking with me today and showing me some of her tips and tricks. I got to know Nicole, I don't know how long it's been now. It's been like 6-7 years or something.
At least.
And since that fruitful meeting years ago, we've become good friends. When did you publish the cookbook? It was in
July 2019.
Yeah, so this is the cookbook. It's called Dappled, and it is all about baking delicious things with fruit.
I feel like we should just
dive
get
in
into a recipe.
and make a recipe.
Yeah.
Before we do that, I am curious to know, so when I met you, you were heading up the pastry program at GTA, Jelena.
I went to art school in San Francisco at the San Francisco Art Institute. I studied photography and film. I started making things to take photographs of, and then I started making things to bring to critiques. And then I just started making things and realizing that maybe when I graduated, I didn't want to be an artist.
So when you were in art school, when you were doing critiques for your art, you would bring in baked goods?
Every time.
So if you were in school with Nicole, you also got delicious treats every week.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Definitely. They may not have been that delicious, but...
Okay, that's when you were working. You were improving your skills.
I was developing my skills, yeah.
You did a road trip through the South.
I did.
This one was specifically for pies, I think.
It was, yeah. We went to make a documentary and go to the National Pie Championship that I was gunning to win. I really wanted to win. I entered. We ended up in Florida. I made my pies and then I won. So the documentary ended well. Yeah, I got lucky.
What's the name of the documentary?
It's called Pie Fidelity.
Pie Fidelity, which we can probably link to.
Yeah, you can link to
so we'll link to
that old thing. Sure.
That old thing.
Yeah.
So what are we going to make today?
Today we're going to make some financiers, which is a browned butter almond cake from France. And I love to put fruit in financier to balance the delicious rich browned butter. It's almond based, so it's nutty, and then a little pop of fresh fruit in it. So we're going to use some very special and very ridiculous looking Muscat grapes.
These grapes literally look like they're a sculpture,
I know.
Like a wax
They're
sculpture.
so strange. They're actually from Korea, which is very unlike me. I like to use local fruit, but I saw them and I was like, this is too much fun. I have to buy them. They're very good. Mm-hmm. Delicious.
Can't wait to try them in the financier. So I guess we should get baking. Yeah? Okay, let's do this. Okay, so we're making in the book, this is the pear financier.
Yes.
Even though we're using a different fruit.
Yes.
Which is okay.
It's okay. The whole premise of the book is to use what you have, as much of it as you can. Okay. So I love swapping out any fruit. Can go in this. Pears, it could be strawberries. Yeah, honestly, I can't think of a fruit that would be bad.
So the all-fruit financier is what we're making.
Make it. Oh, look at how the honey stuck to the...
That's cute.
Anyway, so you're putting almond flour, AP flour, sugar, and we're going to put this honey into the stand mixer.
So I've noticed actually in using your cookbook that you often have honey as a sweetener, sometimes in place of sugar, or is it always a mix of the two?
It's usually in addition. There is a pumpkin pie recipe that has maple syrup instead.
Okay.
You always mix sugars, mix sweetness. You're using fruit, you always add a little bit of salt. You always mix the sugars. So
it's just really making flavors more complex.
Making flavors more complex, making them more balanced, and it gives you an intangible flavor profile where you can't really place why is this so much more delicious than normal? And it's because there's more stuff in it, basically. And then the base of financier is always egg whites, not whole eggs. It's very simple. You just mix them all together. You add all the egg whites and you mix it into the almond flour and the sugar. Something like financier has so much butter in it and it's so rich and indulgent, but also there's no egg yolks in it. So it's kind of heavier on the protein, but also look how much butter is in this cake. The recipe for financier is called financier because it replicates a bar of gold, but also it's worth its weight in gold because of how much butter is in it. So there's the gold part right there. The browned butter is still hot. It's like just off the stove. You want it to be warm. It emulsifies better.
I noticed that when you were browning it, it seemed that the temperature on the stove was pretty high on the burner.
Basically what's happening is butter has, you consider it to be fat, right? But it actually has a certain percentage of water in it. So most butter is like 78% fat and the rest is milk solids and water. And what you want to do when you brown butter is evaporate all of the water. So once the water is gone, then the solids can start to caramelize and the Maillard reaction happens and you get browning. Browning makes flavor and it makes color. It's like crystally, you know, it's a milk protein. It's crunchy.
It is crunchy. And
tastes great.
And that's what you want. You want to have those kind of small crystalline little
Absolutely,
elements.
because that's the, like in France they say noisette, and that's the nutty, rich, crispy part. So we're gonna pour this in a stream while this is running, but first we're gonna put some vanilla.
Oh, we need vanilla. Okay.
And this is my like really janky jar of like vanilla beans.
But you essentially made your own vanilla from the vanilla pods.
Yes, I put them in some alcohol. I think it's like I used a brown alcohol, maybe
maybe like a
bourbon.
brandy or a bourbon.
Yeah, and I scraped it, and then you pour it over the pods and you age it. Vanilla is so expensive.
Yeah.
And the pods are like a super luxury item, so you want to make them last as long as possible. I'm gonna do like a measurement. I'm just gonna pour like, that's like 2 tablespoons.
Okay.
Okay. So we add the butter in a thin stream so that it slowly integrates into the batter, and you can see the texture of the batter changing kind of at the edges. It gets curved in the bowl as the fat is being emulsified, and there's a lot of fat to pour into this. The most important part of this entire thing is making sure that all the brown sludge at the bottom actually goes in.
And are you afraid at all of overbeating this?
Not really, because it's like 80% almond flour, and almond flour doesn't have gluten. Okay, so here we go. It looks great in the bowl. It like has all the brown flecks. You can see it looks sort of
Beautiful.
like cookies and creamish. And then we're gonna scrape down the sides, always scrape down the sides, and then mix it again to make sure that everything is in there. Just make sure you get the bottom, because there's always some stuff hiding in the bottom of the bowl. Okay, our batter is mixed. It looks delicious. It's like nice and fluid and has really great speckles in it. So we have our molds. For financier in particular, I like to use these silicone molds because the texture of the silicone on the inside of the mold bakes the financier like shiny, smooth, and not a lot of other surfaces will do that. You don't want to overfill it because they will expand and bake.
So this is about like half
It's going to be
full.
like 3/4.
3/4,
Yeah,
okay.
so you give it some space. So we have our grapes. I've cut them up. They've been macerating. Ooh, 2 jumped out. Macerating makes the juices come out. So you want to toss them with a little bit of sugar and a little bit of salt. But it's not, try one. It's not like overbearing.
Oh, rose water.
Just
So
kicks it
beautiful.
up, right? Yeah.
Tell me about the rose water.
Rose water.
This is the rose water. You just
Yeah.
bought it at a regular old grocery store?
Here in LA, I just bought it at the grocery store, yeah. I mean, usually you can find it at like a Persian grocer or
Oh, it smells so
Indian
good. I mean,
grocery.
literally smells
They
like
have it
the
a lot
best.
at Latin American groceries as well. You can find orange blossom water too sometimes. It's also a really good flavor to use. It smells great. So we're just gonna put like on the top, it's like a pretty rustic thing. I just put like a couple scattered in there. And then some of the juices will naturally land in there. You don't want to like spoon a bunch of juice. You can kind of like stick a couple in so that they're really embedded. I'm going to finish them before we bake them with a little bit of coarse sugar for texture and for extra sparkle and to encourage caramelization on the top.
So now we're gonna wait for 20 minutes?
Yes.
Okay, that's
Ish.
not a
20
long
minute
amount of
ish.
time.
No.
What are we baking them at?
We're baking
350?
them at 350.
Okay.
Yeah.
350 for 20 minutes, and then we will be right back to show you what they look like.
Yeah.
Well, these look perfect.
Aren't they pretty?
There's like a little golden brown crust on
Oh,
the
yeah.
edge.
We're gonna pop them out, and these silicone are really hot. They feel hotter than metal when you touch them sometimes.
Yes.
It's gonna be so hot. Oh my god, look how hot it is.
What I
It
want.
smells so good.
I love that you still see the flakes or the little brown bits. The brown butter.
So
The grapes with the rose water. That's delicious.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Nicole, good job.
Thank you. Thanks for making
like,
these with me.
It seems like you know what you're doing.
Sometimes.
You're opening up a new spot here in
Yeah.
LA soon, right?
I am. I'm working on opening a stand at Grand Central Market in downtown. I should be open sometime in 2020.
And what's the name?
It's going to be called Fat and Flour Bakery.
And what all will you be selling?
Pies and cookies.
Yum, the best.
Yeah, just desserts.
Do you do
Maybe
now
cakes.
your
too.
your cookbook is all about fruit, but will your pies be things other than fruit pies?
Yeah, I love chocolate pie.
Yeah, you love a chocolate pie.
chocolate pie is one of the best,
Yeah.
right? It won't be all fruit.
Okay.
I'll have some nuts and some chocolate in there. Okay, let's put it on a plate.
Nicole, thank you for having me over.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for telling us, dropping all the knowledge.
So much.
So much knowledge. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. Check out Nicole's book, Dappled.
Yes,
Comment, like, tell us if you make any of these recipes. Tell us what you think. If you have any questions, I'll make sure that Nicole answers them for you.
Hit me up.
And be sure to look out for Nicole's new shop here in Los Angeles.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's totally
Dog.
fine. The dogs are just jealous.
They
These
want
are
this
so
cake
delicious.
so bad.
Thanks for having me over.
Thank you.